That was the first original wound is I'm afraid of being who I am
Mm,
because
yeah. And
maybe am I not enough? There's a fear behind it because I'm not enough.
welcome everyone to ADHD and with Jorie Houlihan. I am Jorie Houlihan, and I'm your guide for the dopamine deprived. I am very excited to speak to today's guest. Hilary Momberger-Powers has been in recovery since 1983. She's been a mentor, a writer, and public speaker in recovery for over 40 years. In the early 90s, she worked as the program manager for the first sober living house for women alcoholics in the United States. This program, which later came to be known as Promises, was instrumental in establishing the aftercare for the recovering alcoholic. For over 30 years, she has worked with hundreds of women whose lives have been devastated by alcohol and drug addiction and guided them through various stages of their growth. As a child, she was a well known actress, voicing the character of Sally in many of the Charlie Brown cartoons, blessed to have worked with Charles Schultz and Bill Mendelsohn. Her passion is for discussing alcoholism, family dynamics, mindset changes, ego, ways of changing one's character, healing trauma wounds, and using scars to thrive, not survive. I love that. She provides guidance towards the love within, freedom from emotional bondage, procrastination, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and helping people to avoid sitting in your shit. She will soon be publishing her memoir, Good Grief, Hollywood Ate My Childhood, which that is a great title, which chronicles her harrowing journey from self-destruction to redemption. She has also written two children's books, Zach the Yak and Zach and Tack Are Back. So welcome so much to the podcast, Hilary.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored to be invited to somewhere where I add instead of my old world where I was just there to take, take.
Yes. Well, and what a lot of people don't realize is that addiction and those kinds of things are actually quite prominent in the ADHD world. When the
Mm,
brain is low on dopamine, it's always looking for dopamine, and addiction can take form in drugs, alcohol, food, sex, gambling, the whole thing. So to have somebody who has gone through a lot of that with alcohol addiction, I think you have a very unique perspective that I think is going to be really great for our audience to hear.
glad. Yeah, I believe that it's my alcohol and my addictions actually quieted my mind, and that's really the relief I was looking for.
Yes. Yeah, that is one of the things that I think people don't realize is just how much it really is not doing what you think it's doing. All right, so let's jump into some questions here. So, your early years in the spotlight as Sally Brown in the Peanuts were formative. What are your most vivid memories from that time, and how did that unique childhood, because not most people get to do that kind of thing, but how did that
Right.
affect the way you saw yourself growing up?
It's funny because we have this perception that people who have some interesting or fun or exciting or famous, that their lives are easy. But it actually compiles on a different set of problems that you probably wouldn't have to endeavor if you were just having a normal childhood. And so as a kid, it was fun because I had no idea what I was doing. Here I am thinking everything's amazing, wonderful, because as a kid, I was just happy and joyful and excited. And then I was put in a situation where my mother wanted more and more and more. So I was placed in a position to perform. Now it sounds great, but now I'm actually moving away from the original Hillary, which is
Mhm.
living life, just enjoying the day I'm in. I'm finding wonder in everything. I'm seeing the beauty in all things because when you're a kid, everything is amazing. We want to taste it, want to touch it, want to feel it, want to hear it. We just want to be satisfied. And so now I'm brought into this world where, yeah, there was great things about it when I it was my first interview and I had never been on anything. My mom said, "We're going to go meet some people." and I want you to be a good little girl." Whoa. All of a sudden, I'm like, "I thought I was a good little girl." And I want you to not talk about any feelings because we can't get work that way. Now, here's a principle I stashed. Boom. Don't talk about feelings. Be what people want you to be. So here I am, 5. I meet Charles Schultz, Bill Melendez, and they don't want me to act. They want to see who Hillary is. They just said, "Why? We just want you to be a kid. Here, you want some candy?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I love these guys." So I found a place that when I went to this world, I didn't have to be anything. But yet when I left the place, my mother reminded me I had to be a character. So I got these difficult, like, here I am trying to feel my way into feeling good, but I think I have to act my way into feeling good, but I don't want to act this way because I don't even know who I am to act. That was the first original wound is I'm afraid of being who I am
Mm,
because
yeah. And
maybe am I not enough? There's a fear behind it because I'm not enough.
yes. And that is something that, and you know this, in the ADHD world, we're always like, I have to do better. I have to work harder. I have to mask these
And
parts of myself that people may not like. And so then when you add to that all this additional pressure that you're talking about, that had to, I mean, and at 5, like that had to just be so overwhelming.
it was so overwhelming. I had blisters on my fingers. I used to bite my nails to the quick.
Hmm.
And I was always, what was I doing? I was eating at myself. I was hurting, I was imploding with these blisters. And my mother used to say things, key things for an ADHD. Stop fidgeting.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Oh,
God, why
yeah.
can't we
I
just sit
still get
down?
that.
I do too. I'm like, "I'm just moving, babe. I'm just keeping the frequency going." I've made friends with my my defects or I don't have to put an MD behind my name. I've got so many other acronyms. ADHD, alcoholic, and just now add it, ad infinitum. I just feel like a really well-schooled human being.
You know?
So, yeah, I've just learned how to take my mess and make it a great message. I've got my pain. I have this huge purpose in life to let you know that it's okay not to be perfect.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. You've already touched on this a bit. A lot of people assume that stardom means happiness and security, right? And you've already kind of demonstrated that was not exactly the case for you. Are there other maybe pressures or pain points that you wish were better understood by adults who work with young performers?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things is, when I started to embark on writing my book, I kept thinking, why am I doing this? Like I have to find my reason for it instead of I just want everyone to know me because that wasn't my goal. My goal was you are not what you've done to be who you are. In other words, I think I have to do this, this, and this to get here. I already am enough.
Yeah.
And so when I started writing it, I started looking at, some of all these different characteristics and, you know, the world of Hollywood, right? It's the glim and the glitz and the glitter and the wow. It was set up, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, to keep you in that sense of I want to be like them. So if I keep focusing on being like them, what do? I keep chasing it. So I want to see more films. I want to see more actors. I want to be because when I get over there, when I get like them, and if I lose the weight and if I get the job and if I if I become an actor, I'm going to have all the women I want. And then what? And then I'll be happy. So it kept me in that state of the next job, the next performance. It never allowed me to be in the real of right here, right now, because the movies are about make believe, fantasy.
Mhm.
And I already am in a fantasy life. That's a part of my ADHD. I am always dreaming and thinking of and trying to become, and everything is about when I get over there. So it built a really strong character of my outsides represent my insides.
Yes.
Not my insides represent my outsides. So even at a young age, my funnel was totally on backwards.
I would like to think that we have evolved where,
That
people
too.
who are working with kids, because we hear these stories all the time of these young kids who get, they get fame, they get this stuff early, and then they're just surrounded by yes people.
Yeah.
And there's no one to ground them. As you mentioned, your mom had addiction issues too. She had her own stuff, so there was no grounding there, right? So, so how does one find that at that age? Because you don't even know you're looking for that at that age.
I get that. Unfortunately, these are the formative years I create this self, Hillary, right? And I'm creating this girl, but now my underlining characteristics are I'm in fear. I don't think I'm enough. I got to do better to get love. That, I start doing everything. I become, when we're traumatized, that word trauma, I think of tremor. Like when there's an earthquake, the tectonic plates are shifted, which means I'm jolted out of my ecosystem, and now I'm like, "Who am I? What am I doing?" So I'm in the state of fear. I don't even know it's fear. That's why fear reveals itself in so many different ways. The kid who there's 3 ways I become a people pleaser. I become a loner, the kid who sits in his phone, always looking at movies, playing games. He's so outside of who he is. The people pleaser keeps trying to show you how wonderful you are. So then, and now am I enough? Now do you love me? Tell me I'm okay. Or it goes into the controller, the bully, the one that's always got to have. He's the king. He's the one who runs all the friends. He's the mean guy who says, "Oh, you're bad," because he's the king. He's controlling it. I'm trying to control my outside so I can feel safe on the inside. And that's all I want to do is I want to feel safe. But I don't want to because I have to perform and be this character in order for you to even see me. And now I'm being seen on a big platform. It's funny when I used to do commercials too. I did like 100 commercials, and it was back in the days, and it sounds really great, but it's a lot of pressure because I just wanted to be a kid. I
Yeah.
wanted to hang out with my brothers and sisters. I wanted to play fort. I wanted to play king of the hill, but instead I was wished off to interviews and auditions to be something you want me to be instead of Hillary. And so I
Yeah.
said, so this fear comes up, but because I've now set myself in a trauma response, I don't even know who I am. And so my friends would say, "Oh my God, aren't you on that commercial?" And there was 4 channels. I'm
Yeah.
64, okay? I'm an old broad, but there were 4 channels, so they'd see me a lot.
Mhm.
And I would say, "No, that's not me, it's my sister," because I was just dying to be a part of. I wanted to be in the herd of life, and I wasn't. I was exposed to this superficial world that everything is amazing when you get in front of the lights, and when you get the light shined on you. But today, being the woman I am today, I know that everything is amazing when my light shines from the inside out. There's the shift.
Yes. And that is something that tends to come with age and life
Yeah, unfortunately,
experience, right?
you know what? The ego gives up and says, "Dude, I surrender. I need God. Help me. I can't."
That actually leads me to my next question. So you've been open about your struggles with addiction and trauma and all that, and that started in your teens, correct?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So was there what was the moment when you realized that the pain that you carried went deeper than just the substances or the behaviors?
Well, because I was always, we didn't have the ADHD. We had, she's frenetic. She's extra. She's so hyperactive. There's some,
She's too much.
oh, too much. Oh my God. Don't give her sugar. Don't give her like, I was supposed to be starved and, taped up to the corner to be okay to be around everybody. Obviously, that's what they were looking for. So when I got into my addiction, I became the people pleaser and then I became the loner in my trauma response, which means I checked out. I wasn't looking to get high and have fun. I have a spirit inside of me that was so dead that I found a spirit called alcohol. That's what they call it, the spirit. So all of a sudden I think, "Oh my god, that's my answer. I can be somebody else." So you hear those people that say, "Yeah, when I drank, all of a sudden I had tits. I was 6 foot. I was so hot. I had all the boys wanted me." Little did I know I was like 4'8" and I was flat chested and nobody wanted me, but in my mind, because I had now taken on a new spirit called alcohol and drugs, new character, without reference to the old one, I wasn't scared anymore. I was enough. I felt pretty. I felt smart. All these things that I was lacking because of my neuro responses were a little whacked out, and then you love that dopamine. I kept getting high. I kept getting high. I want to hit. I want to hit. I always say that, I've worked with so many women and they're like, "What's wrong with me?" Nothing. You're in your little soup right now. You're learning a lot of things about yourself that you can discard the stuff that doesn't feel good. You don't have to hold on to that.
Yeah.
You can let
Yeah.
it go. Like I, the wonderful thing about people being there for other people is we can't give them confidence. We can encourage them to go get to find their own, which is deep down inside. We can give them, we can encourage them to build a muscle of resilience. And so that's why it's great to have a community or to have a coach or to have a church or whatever it is. An ecosystem makes you feel a sense of belonging, which is something
Yes.
I don't feel like I belong anywhere.
Yeah. I've talked about this before on the podcast where a lot of times people mistake fitting in with belonging, and they're two different things.
So
Fitting in is where you have to change who you are to be accepted, whereas belonging is you get to come in the giant spicy disaster that you may be and still be accepted, right?
yeah,
For flaws and all. And too often we're trying to do the fitting in thing, especially when you're younger, in teenager
yeah,
years and
right,
whatever. It isn't really till you kind of get to your 50s where you're like, I don't give a shit anymore. But,
right.
you know,
Right,
but
ain't that true? I'm like, off with your
yeah, yeah,
head. Bye bye.
yeah.
Well,
But
but like you said, the fitting in is an outside job. The
mhm.
belonging is an inside job.
I love how you just phrased that. That is beautiful.
Yeah, so and how simple is that? But when I'm in my mind, that's my neuron receptors are like ting, 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 ting. And then I've got my old ideas and I've got my fear driving me and my low self-esteem and I'm living in this people pleaser, but I want to hide out and disappear. And, my mother used to say Hilary in our famous disappearing act. I'm like, yeah. She used to say things to me like, "Oh my God, you're so defiant." And I'm like, yeah, I'm defiant. Like I wore it like a badge of honor, you know?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of people who whether I mean this is in particular with ADHD, there is a certain point where it can evolve into oppositional defiance disorder, ODD.
Mhm.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the inner workings of that, but I have had so many clients that have said that very thing, like they were people pleasers, but at the same time, they were
Mhm.
also like, "Fuck you," like to anybody who tried to control them, and that also gives us dopamine, by the way. We will pick fights and not understand why we are, and it's because we're looking for dopamine. But when you're young and you don't have the impulse control yet, even as without ADHD, it's hard to control impulses when you're younger. But you add to that everything that you've been talking about, you know, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot because when you're in that trauma response, which we get triggered and we have those, we're living in a system where I go into this reptilian part of my brain. It's not like this calm adult. I've got this infantile ego that thinks I need more. But that's when I know, oh wow, I need to self-care. I need to look at the signs if I'm leaving my spirit again. 'Cause I wanna go
Mm,
out there to feel good, and then
yeah.
it really is an inside job, but so when I look at my trauma response, I go into this reptilian part of my brain that says, live or die. Oh my God, I gotta make sure I'm okay. So I do my all my dopamine excels. I'm like in, whew, my body hurts. I can feel my body when I talk about it. My shoulders, like I can feel it tightness in my chest. Now I can identify where I'm at because
Mhm.
I'm present to Hillary. And when you're
Yes.
in your cycle, which we have cycles, it's like a manic depressive. I've learned how to soothe myself, simmer down, treat my trauma with me and prayer to a power greater than myself, because I'm powerful, girl.
Yes, you are.
But I need to tap into a power that's there to love and take care of me, not to win or lose, live or die, good or bad, black or white, red or blue, that duality. Because the oneness, when they say I'm in oneness with God, it's because I'm in the moment. And I don't know how to do that when I'm in my cycle of my ADHD. I gotta go, 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 go. It's pause. How do I do that?
Being able to stop and be present in a moment sometimes feels like this, like, never achievable thing when
Mhm.
you're really in it, right?
Right.
And I myself am not terribly religious. I joke I'm a
I'm
recovering Catholic, but
Right,
it
so am
is
I. Hello, welcome. Yeah. Bernadette, I don't even know who she was, but I picked that name. I don't know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I do find that for me, meditation is that sort of gives me what it sounds like you're talking about.
Right,
And
right.
I joke that my meditation was I do it not necessarily the way God intended because I have an ADHD brain, but it's enough for me to just sit and be still and just focus on my breath. And that will help to calm my central nervous system in a way that really nothing else helps me with. And so it sounds like for you, it is your connection with God or the whatever it is, whatever you call, the spirit bigger than you. That's been what it's been for you. You have credited inner child work and John Bradshaw's teaching as pivotal in your healing. So, for listeners who might be new to these ideas, can you describe what inner child work meant to you?
Okay. For me, I remember going to this. I was in my 20s when I first got sober. I had my aha God moment. I was overdosing. So I do all this stuff and I go and I have this grandma seizure and I say, there's a God as I'm in convulsions. Don't let me die. And it happened. They stopped. Now, because I am who I am, the kaleidoscope, colorful girl that I am, you you think I said, "Oh my God, now I'm saved by God." Oh no, I stepped testing the water. I was like, "Whew, got away with that one,"
Yep. Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Boy, I'm amazing, and I still build back on my ego until that day when I realized I can't think my way to right purpose. I can't act my way. I need help. Like I surrendered. Like I was so tired of trying to run my show in my head, in my life, that I just was done. And that's the greatest place. So if your listeners are like, I can't fucking do this anymore, I'm like, yes, yeah, baby, you're in on my team.
Yes.
Because my mind says, if I fall to the ground, if I hit bottom, I'm a loser. No, babe, you are, you're ready to have a new experience, have a new life with no resemblance to the old one. It doesn't take a minute because I'm always in a hurry, always.
Go figure.
So learning how to pause, but when I take care of my senses, I can tap into that power, that sixth sense, that higher power I call God in the day I'm in. Sometimes I'm driving down the freeway and I'm like, I go, "Ooh," and I'm driving the guy's car. "You don't know how to drive. Turn left, turn." I'm like, "Just drive my own car, Hillary." So I'm like, I'm doing all this stuff and I'm thinking, "What is wrong with me? God, what is wrong with them? They need to perform well so I feel well. The world needs to get their shit together so I can have a good." How many times are you with your kids? "You guys need to stop crying, then I can have a good day." No. I need to settle and stabilize myself so I don't hear the outside anymore the same. I don't see it. I don't smell it. I can't taste it. I can't feel it. I have a new experience because I've tapped into this source other than my fractured mind. There are other ways to take power over your life. I thought I had to take power from the outside in. No, it's from the inside out. I don't have to do anything. I get to experience a new paradigm. I get to experience a new way to see things and feel things and hear things and taste things. So now I start giving thanks. And when I thank and I'm in gratitude, I receive more things to thank God about. But see, the queen, when she's in my cycle, I'm in charge. I'm large and in charge and I'm gonna figure it out. But I gotta get so sick and tired of doing it all by myself. It's okay to need help. That's the
Yes.
wonderful thing.
And we are terrible about asking for help
Oh,
and on like every level, but it is so important. Like you said,
sure.
it is
Yes.
we are always trying to do everything ourselves. And in part because sometimes I think we feel shame for needing help with some of the things that we need help with. I think we've been mocked in the past for asking for help for
You
certain
just
things,
said
so
it.
people are like, "Why do you need help with that? That's so easy," right?
You just
So
said it.
there's yeah, so
Mhm.
there's just always these messages coming to us that we internalize saying, "Oh, that's a sign of weakness," or "That's a sign that you're not capable." But so often, some of the things that the trouble we get ourselves into could have been avoided if we had just simply asked questions even, right?
Right.
Gotten some clarity on things. All right, so I want to get to the next question here. You helped launch the first sober living house for women alcoholics in the US, that's amazing. So, what did that experience teach you about how women's needs differ in recovery and healing?
It was in the '80s. I think it was '83, '84. And I was with a group of people getting sober, and Richie Rogg and Annie Hall. Or was it Annie Hill? I always got it mixed up. They were married and they had this great idea to have a house for all these women coming out because women get really beaten up. Men survive longer on the streets than we do. And I was like 20, I don't know, 24. And they said, "Hey, listen, we're going to open this house. No one's done it, but it's going to be for people." They didn't come out of rehabs because rehabs weren't anything. There was one in, like, Betty Ford, and then there was Hazeltine, and maybe there was one in New York at the New York hospital. And they said, "We're going to open this house, but we need someone to manage it." And I thought, "Oh my God, I'm 24 years old. I'm a screw up. I'm a fuck up." That's what my mind
Yeah.
told me. But obviously, they encouraged me. They guided me to confidence. They guided me to building a stronger character and building up my self-esteem. So I got this little shack in the back of the house. Literally, it was a shack. I didn't have electricity. I had to go inside the house to pee. And it was in Venice, California. And I'm 24. It's like, sure, I'll do it. And I lived there for a couple years. And while I was there, they had a few bedrooms, and each woman were two in the bedroom. And they said, "Okay, you have to implement all the rules and you have to make sure they do them." And I'm terrified. I'm a kid inside. I have this like, I'm still 14 when I
Mhm.
started getting high. I'm so my I haven't grown emotionally. So now I'm placed in this position where I have to be accountable to show up. But thank God that little people pleaser was still in sight because I wanted to do a good job for them. And so all of a sudden, I'm having them do their chores. They're having to be responsible. You got to read your stuff. You got to go to meetings. You got to do and I'm overseeing these people and I'm learning that I can do things methodically. And I never knew that. I was all over the place. I couldn't do anything. Now I was responsible. And
Mhm.
so from there, they opened up a rehab where they brought therapists in. Richie and Annie wrote the outline for all the rehabs in America.
I think first of all that's just kind of a cool thing to be a part of when that first
Totally.
started.
Mhm.
And you said it exactly right, which is that, for women who are struggling with this kind of thing, it's very different and there's a different kind of shaming that can happen.
Mhm.
It's nice that there are places for people to go where they have some refuge, even if it's the first step to
Oh,
doing
100%.
something.
I think it's great. I think it's great, but you can't when we're in our addiction or in our whatever it is, "Are you my daddy? Are you gonna fix me?" There's nobody out there to fix you. It's
Yes.
gotta be an inside job. And can I talk about shame for a little bit? Because shame is
Sure.
a big one for women.
Yes.
Shame is about, "I am a piece of shit." Guilt is, "I've done some shitty things."
Mhm.
And somewhere along the line, I remember my mother, I was 7 years old, and when you go to I left the kitchen because I had to pee, right? So I am very transparent. And I'm sitting on the toilet, I'm 7, you know how a kid just like and I'm ADHD, so I'm like, "Oh," I'm looking in the bathroom, pulling out things. I don't have a goal. I'm like, "I've now found a new place to get curious." So I look in a Tampax box and I find the Tampax box. And I'm looking at the thing, trying to figure out what these diagrams were. I'm 7. My mother walks in the bathroom and says, "You dirty little slut. I can't believe you." What do you think I did with that? I took that principle. A principle is a truth to live by. That was her principle. She felt that if you looked at your body, you were a slut because she couldn't look at her body. And here is her daughter. So I put that deep down in my basement, and that becomes the drive. I am a slut. So what do? I'm a slut because now I'm living but what they told me. So when shame comes in, a lot of the shame is nothing you told yourself. Somebody said it because they feel crummy about their life and who they are. They throw, when a
Yep.
when a monkey is in a cage, it throws its shit. Why? Because that's what monkeys do. And when we're with other unhealthy human beings, they're going to throw their shit. It gets put on us, and we think, I am a piece of shit. And then that becomes my core. So I'm so embarrassed. I am so ashamed. I add shame to me of who I am because somewhere down the line in the beginning of my formative years, I thought what you said to me was the truth. And the key is to finding out that you are not what you've done or what they've said. Let's find out who you really are.
Yes. You have spoken about the shift from victim to victor. So, can you kind of guide us through some practical steps? What practical steps helped you to reclaim agency over your story? Like you just said, I'm not what I've done, right? And so to reclaim agency over your story, especially during the hard times, the setbacks, the relapses, things like that, because
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
shame
it happens.
spiral is
It
very
happens.
real.
Yeah. It's very rare that you get sober and everything's amazing. Yeah, that's in the movies. Here we go again, back to the movies,
Yep.
right? Happily ever after. Thank you, Disney. That's not real. you know, a lot of this stuff I like to I tell stories and I kind of make it like what's in your world today so you can identify to it and you can reconnect with it. I'm a soup, okay? I have all this stuff, my old ideas, my pains, my memories, all this stuff that have been driving me and created me into Hillary. Well, I need that stuff in my soup and I need to add the good stuff like the chicken and the broth and the onions and the garlic and the low self-esteem and the hyperactivity, the
Mhm.
ADHD, the addiction. I need all this stuff so I can be who I am. And I was geared to believe that if you're not perfect, you're a throwaway. So I get to look at my soup, and I've had a lot of people along the way view it and observe what's in my soup with me. So when I get into that fault finding, judging mind, they can say, "Oh, I've done that too." "Oh, you have?" "Oh, yeah. Oh, I believe that too. I thought I was a total, I really believed I was all these things my mother told me. A throwaway, an idiot. I'll never be smart enough. I'll never
Well,
be.
because I mean,
And
why wouldn't you? We trust our parents.
and
And
guess,
so of course
yeah,
that's going to
yeah,
be you're going to take that on
right.
as true.
So what I started building was a victim role. I became the queen victim. Well, if you went through, I went through, and I always got this tag. Well, I had this happen to me, and I feel like I have to give my resume while I hate myself so much. Here's my resume, trauma. Here's my resume, self pity, all about me. Oh my God, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Well, the more you push yourself out there, the less you're going to feel yourself. So I started practicing when someone said, "Oh God, you were abused. Your mother sent you to a foster home." Instead of going, "Yeah, it was really fucked up."
Yeah.
'Cause what do I get when someone says that? I get pity. I get what? Attention. I get love that I don't know how to give myself.
Mhm.
So what I practice doing is a little teeny step. It takes a couple steps till you get to the top of the steps, right? I had took a little bit at a time, one conversation at a time, one thought at a time, one relationship at a time. When someone said you must have come from a screwed up family, today I say, no, there's nothing. I'm so great with what happened. Thank God I came from that. I am the most colorful kaleidoscope you'll ever meet.
Mhm.
So now no longer I'm taking this wound that's become a hard, tough scar. It now becomes the foundation that keeps my house still.
Yeah, I think being able to come to terms with your past,
Mhm.
and because as much as we all have stuff from our past, some more than others, it all is part of what has made you you.
Mhm.
And when you can get to that place where you're like, I actually am really okay with who I am now,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And I wouldn't be this person if I hadn't gone through that kind of thing. That was where I was when I got my ADHD diagnosis. I was 49. I was almost 50.
Right, right.
And I went through this very angry period of why
Mhm.
didn't anybody notice this? How did no one see this? Why
Mm.
didn't anybody do anything?
Yeah.
I'm in a mastermind, and it's myself and two women. And one of the women said, well, let me just play devil's advocate here. What if you had to go through all of that in order to be able to do what your next chapter is? She knew I was going to be doing what I'm doing now way before I did.
Right,
And I was like, maybe, but still, and I wasn't ready to let go of the anger at that point.
right. The
But
victimized. I'm a victimese. I'm recovering victimese. It's like
yeah,
it
exactly.
works for a while, but then it stops working.
Yeah. And what I realized is that one of the reasons my clients like me is because they know I get them. They know I've been through it. I'm not just like talking from a teaching manual.
I had this one therapist, and she was just like, had the most normal life ever. And she was like, just stop thinking that way. And I'm like, dude, you
Oh,
can't. I'm like, can you? Okay, I'm going to tell you to stop
uh,
breathing. Can you do that now? No, it's a part
yeah,
of who I am. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's true because I coming to terms with it and making friends with my quirks, my oopsies, and all my like I need all that stuff. And that soup that I have all those ingredients with, it takes a minute to cook.
exactly. So you are also very creative.
Mhm.
And so creativity and recovery,
Ooh, it's so good. Yeah.
yeah, they both require vulnerability. And that is also something we're not great at, right?
Mhm.
How do you encourage women, or I guess really anybody, to use their scars as fuel for growth rather than proof of brokenness?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, because remember when I was saying that I got to start living on my inside, not my outside? Like, why am I creative? Because I feel a sense of relief. I feel a freedom when I'm creating, and I'm trying to heal myself, to soothe myself. So the more I stay doing those things that make me feel safe, where I can breathe. I remember painting, and I went to art school because I've gone to art school, film school, massage school, and nursing school. It's like, God, pick something. No, I'm so excited. I have all these things in my hope chest. I'm excited. I want to see them all. I do
Mhm.
podcasts now. I coach. It's like I've got screenplays and film festivals now. I've got movies out. I'm like, I'm just kaleidoscope. But how you get there is when I go to my seeing, tasting, touching, hearing, smelling, when I get in touch with who I am, I know this is my fuel to simmer down. And once I do, and I connect with that power greater than me, other than Hilary, that I gave that name to, AKA God, I remember in my living room, I took a paintbrush, and I had no idea how well I painted, because I always thought, "Oh, I'm no good, I'm not smart enough, I'm not creative," because all these mind thought was creating my history, was going to my future, and I started painting, and I remember going, "Oh my god, I feel so calm." It calmed me down like a tranquilizer. And then I thought, "I love this." And as a result of me just going to see if I can add joy and happiness to Hillary, the core, the little girl that just wants love. And when I'm doing things that please me, I feel love. And
Yes.
all of a sudden, I'm having art shows. Was that my goal? The ADHD thinks that happiness is over there. That's why I keep doing 8,000 million things, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we always have so many
I
so
hello.
many
We could
pots on
go
the stove and
I
then
mean,
wondering why we're
I'm like
exhausted.
spinning the plates. Hold on, baby.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to stay in the moment I'm in. What can I do that makes me feel good? Sometimes people exercise, they walk, but then that takes them to the next adventure. Like you said, it's like your friend was saying, why don't you, just you are okay. And you're like, no, and then once you accepted who you are,
Mhm.
there's a difference between admitting who you are. Yeah, I have an issue. I'm an alcoholic. I'm ADHD. I'm whatever. I'm hyperactive. And accepting.
Yes.
When you accept it, it's a half-hearted surrender. When I admit it, it's like, yeah, so now what am I going to do something different to make me feel different? Otherwise, I'm just like, yep, I'm just a mess up. I'm a hot mess. Here I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
find that at least within the ADHD population, there's a lot of people when they first get diagnosed that are in this, "I'm gonna fight this," and I'm like, "You're gonna lose. Like, this is not a fight you're gonna win," and it's not because I don't think you're capable. It is because you have a brain difference. You just have a different operating system. So
Hmm.
instead of trying to go down this road where you're gonna just be running into a brick wall all the time, why don't we try to figure out how your brain works,
Hmm.
and then we can put some things in place. But right now, you don't really understand what's going on in your brain. You have to learn to dance with your ADHD, not fight it. And I feel like with same thing with addiction, with all these kind of things, coming to terms with this is part of who I am. It's always going to be there on some level. But I have
How can I treat it today? Today,
yes. How can
today,
I have
today.
agency over my story?
Yeah,
Right?
right.
What actions can I take to keep that agency? So you work with clients facing loss, creative blocks, body image issues, and a lot more. So is there a common thread that you see in those who ultimately heal, who ultimately find healing, and what role does self-compassion play? I'm constantly trying to help my clients find that self-compassion when they feel they've screwed up, and I'm like, we all screw up on some level. All humans do, right? You have to have some self-compassion. So, have you seen a common thread with that?
Well, the common thread is they keep thinking they have to be somebody else to be loved. I always say I'm a Cadillac. I came into this, when I started in the recovery world, I had no tires, I had no gas, I had no, the windows were busted out. But I want to be a Porsche. And it was until I'd accepted, okay, I'm a cat. I just need some work. So one day at a time, I keep taking care of all those. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, I think this year I'm going to do my upholstery. Okay.
You know?
Oh, I think this year, my intention is I'm getting new tires. I'm gonna I'm gonna go to different places. It's very symbolic. So one of the things that theme is when I get over there, I'll be happy. But you talked about, and we spoke a little bit, and now I have an opportunity to go into it. Is that 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 child work, that inner child work? See, it's not the adult that thinks there's something wrong with them. It's the little girl that was neglected that feel like they did something wrong, they were not enough,
Mhm.
and they didn't get love. So the inner child work is when I started the work, I took out a picture of me at 5. And there was a part of me that was like, "Oh god, I can't believe I look that way." Wow. So transparent about how much I didn't want a part of that little girl. Because my mind, because of all those principles, all these people, she's such a fuck up, she can't do anything right, she's a quitter. It clogged my vision,
Mhm.
and that's where I would say things like, "God, please help me see it differently." And then I started doing things like I do visualization work where when I get really stressed out, I imagine myself, my little girl being scared, and I imagine her sitting on my lap and me hugging and giving that self-soothing, saying, "Honey, you're okay. I got you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to love you." Because it is an inside job. And then we start doing things like I will break a glass in the kitchen and my old tape was, "Oh god, can't you do anything right?" Who did that to me? My mom.
Mhm.
Identified all those characters in my life that created this character. And then I say things to myself like, "Oopsie, oh honey, it's just a glass. Don't worry about it." All of a sudden I'm like,
Mhm.
how do I start sailing through life instead of bumping into everything? But it really starts with that little girl. So then they can tap in, start taking some authority over their life, and they can self-soothe, but you gotta do the scene tasting. You gotta simmer down so you can get down in that basement where that little girl's just huddling. "I don't wanna come up. I don't wanna come up." But what it needs is not that guy to fix me, that money to fix me, that car to fix me, that clothes, that food, that sex, that drug. I am I'm the power that I connect with this God that loved me so much, that gave me life.
Yes.
It's such a s it's a really one moment at a time, one event at a time, and then I build a muscle. The muscle's like, "Oh, I gotta go. Oh, yeah. I Can you give me 5 minutes?" And I close my eyes, and I'm like and I just imagine because I can feel that. I can re-regulate myself and feel that, and then I'm like, "All right, dude, I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'm ready."
People tend to think that, like, the whole inner child thing is, hooey or whatever, at least people that I've talked to, and I don't. I think that there is just part of our person who there were just certain things we didn't get as a child, right?
Mhm.
Or sometimes we got too much
Not
of things that we
everybody
shouldn't have
can
gotten.
not
Yeah,
everybody can have everything.
and sometimes it's okay to say, "It's okay. We're gonna be okay."
Yeah, it's
And
all great.
I
It's great.
I will tell people, we are our own worst bullies. The things I say to myself, I would never say to another human being.
Mhm.
And through my process of all of this, I have learned to say, wait a minute, what are we doing? And while I'm not necessarily talking to an inner child, I am saying to myself, it's okay that, you forgot to send an email. It's okay, like things happen. And just to have that self compassion. And I think when people can really start to embrace that part of it. I found my sense of humor improved because I
Right?
started to have a sense of humor about things that I normally used to beat myself up about,
Don't take
right?
yourself so seriously. Rule 62, it's like, oh my God. That's why I do the oopsie. I
Yeah.
laugh at myself. I'm playful. I'm light with myself. That's what the word enlightening means. In I'm lightening my life.
Mhm.
So when I pray and when I see myself in a different way, I'm enlightened. I'm not so heavy. Everything is like,
Yeah.
oh my God. It's like, oopsie. Oh, well, I didn't like
Yeah.
that glass anyway. Ha ha. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, less dishes to wash. Awesome. Right?
That's it. See? I always say people with ADHD are some of the most optimistic people you will actually
Totally.
find,
Yeah.
right? So when you can tap into that a little bit more and be a teensy bit more realistic, because sometimes we're optimistic about time. That's, when people are always late, and I call it because they have time optimism. Like,
Right,
it'll only take me 10 minutes to get there when it will take them 30.
right.
Things like that. But yeah, I think if we can apply
I love
that
how
to
positive you are. Oh my god, you're so innovative. That's awesome.
it's like, let's like try to apply that optimism in, like you just said, like, look, see, now I have one less dish I have to clean
Yeah,
later on. This
right.
is great.
That's why I
Okay,
always
so
say the pony in the horse shit. Find the pony in the horse shit. There's a pony in there, don't worry.
okay, so it is now time for the rapid fire round. So I'm
Oh,
going to ask you some questions, and
uh-huh.
I want you just answer as quickly as you can, whatever comes to the top of your mind. Okay, so you ready?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, go. I'm like, I know. I go, all right, why don't you jump off the Empire State Building? Okay. No, just go.
Yeah, no, much less painful. All right. What is the most surprising lesson that you have learned from leading women's recovery groups?
That I do have power inside of me that if I tap into it, nothing can stop me.
That a book or film that changed your perspective on healing.
A Wonderful Life.
That's a really good one. I have not had that answer before. That's awesome. I like that. All right. What is your favorite way to unwind or ground yourself on tough days?
I lived at the beach, so either I will put my feet in the grass or I will, and in the sand, but mostly I quiet everything and I love silence.
Mm. So then, is there a quote, song, or mantra you return to when you need hope?
My favorite thing is I tell everybody, I just go, God, 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 because I'm not thinking about me.
Oh, see, that's good. That's getting you out of your head. Yeah. All right. So, last question. If you could give every woman in the world one resource, what would it be?
One, I'm not going to pick outside. I would have to say, I would give them the resource that they have everything inside of them. Let me show you how to get it.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much for being here today, Hilary. This
What a
has
great
really been
conversation.
so
What a great
enlightening.
interview. Thank you.
Well,
You're
thank
awesome.
you.
You're
Where
awesome.
can people find you?
You can find me on, I have a website. It's Hilary Momberger, that's one L, Hilary Momberger-Powers.com. And if you want to have a conversation, if you want to see if you can be directed somewhere, you would like coaching, or you have some event you would like me to speak at, I love being of service. It's great. And so you can get a hold of me there, and it has a where the email you can contact me. So I also have a couple ebooks I've written too, you
Oh,
know,
great.
no longer
Awesome.
leading with your wound and your hope chest, which is finding out there's so much inside of you. Get excited.
Yes.
So you can contact me there. So yeah,
Awesome. All right. Well, I will have her contact information in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining us today on ADHD and with Jorie Houlihan. If you are liking what you hear, please be sure to follow the show, leave a review, and share this with a friend who may need it. Until next week, please, ladies, stay curious.
awesome. Thank you.